Okay, so those are several examples of experiments, sample spaces associated with those experiments, composite events that are of interest and are associated with those experiments. And so now we're going to move on and look at how to create new events from old events. And so let's let A and B be events. Now, if it makes sense to talk about the event A occurring, then it seems that it ought to make sense to talk about the event A not occurring. And so we're going to denote that event this way. Now, we've already used this notation, and when I first used it, I said, well, we haven't even really defined this notation yet, but we will eventually. Well, we're here. This is eventually right now. Okay? So if this represents the event that A occurs, then this represents the event that A does not occur. And we read this as A complement. Okay, now if it makes sense to talk about the event A occurring, and if it makes sense to talk about the event B occurring, then it makes sense to talk about the event that at least one of the two events occurs. And we represent that event using this notation. Now, this notation should look very familiar to you. This is the union symbol, the union operator that we looked at and used in the context of set theory. All right, and we borrow that notation when we're talking about events, because again, we can think of events as subsets of a sample space, right? And so it makes sense to utilize the concepts and the notation associated with set theory in the context of events. So this is the event that A occurs or B occurs. Another way to say that is that it's the event that at least one of these two events occurs. And then if it makes sense to talk about the event A occurring and the event B occurring, then it makes sense to talk about the event of both events occurring. And so we denote that event using the intersection operator. All right? This is red, the event that both A and B occur. And that makes sense from a set theory standpoint, because if we think about the events A and B as sets, then their intersection consists of those elementary events that are common to both events A and B. And so the events that are common, if an event is common to both, then if that elementary event occurs, then both A and B have occurred. And so this is a very natural way to represent the event that both of the events occur. All right, now we're going to look at relationships between events. And so let's let A and B be events. Now, if A and B cannot occur simultaneously, then we say that the two events are mutually exclusive, and we express that this way right here. Now remember, when we were talking about set theory, we said that two sets were disjoint or mutually exclusive if they had no elements in common. In the context of events, we say that two events are mutually exclusive, or we can also say disjoint, if they have no elementary events in common. In other words, if there's no elementary event that is in both A and B. And so if that's the case, then the two events cannot occur together, and we write that this way. Now we could also write the two brackets with nothing inside, right? And that would be another way to write or to say, using this whole expression here, that the two sets are mutually exclusive. Now, if the occurrence of event A implies the occurrence of B, then we write that this way. Okay? And we read this, that the event A implies the event B. Now, in set theory, we would say that A is a subset of B. All right? But in the context of events, we say that A implies B.